Too many people think arc flash analysis has something to do with getting labels. Oh yeah, we got labels. We've been labeled. Arc flash analysis, the goal is not the dang labels. The goal is not the labels. Okay? The goal is not the labels. An arc flash analysis project needs to be owned by the safety department. Needs to be owned by the safety department. Who all here has safety in their title? An arc flash analysis is not an engineering project. It's not. It's more than that. Engineering, good engineering practices is what we'll use as a tool to get this done, but it's more than that. It's a hazard analysis. It's a job hazard analysis. When you do a hazard analysis, safety professionals, and you find all these hazards, what's the first thing you do next? Get rid of them, maybe? Remove the hazards? That's what you do. That's where too many arc flash analysis projects stop. They just put the labels up. They don't do anything to get rid of the hazards. And that's ridiculous. Make sure that you don't do that. Don't buy an arc flash analysis from anyone that's not helping you get rid of the hazards. And the same engineers will help you do that make the labels for you. But make sure it goes all the way. Okay? So an arc flash analysis is not about getting labels. It's about finding those hazards and getting them out of your building. That's what it's about. Okay? Now, if you do this and you just get labels, and you don't get these out of your building, all you've done is labeled a hazard and gave some people some PPE. Is PPE our first line of defense for safety? Nope. All you safety folks know that PPE is the last line of defense. We only resort to PPE when we can't do anything else. When we can't get rid of the hazard, that's when we wear PPE. Okay? Not first. So our goal can't be labels and PPE. There's got to be something in the middle there. There's got to be let's get rid of the hazard and wear less PPE because we got less hazard now. I'll tell you a story about a company called Simmons Bedding. They've got 24 factories, and we contracted to do arc flash analysis in all their plants, right? And they've got the most comfortable factories you've ever seen. There's mattresses stacked everywhere. It'd be like a dream to work there on third shift. Man, they'd never find me, you know. Why's that mattress got a big lump in it? Oh, that Llewellyn kid's laying down again. No, I wouldn't do that. They did an arc flash analysis, and halfway through the project, we get an email from Jonathan Dawes. He's their corporate safety guy from Atlanta. He says, we've had an arc flash incident. And my heart sinks. Because if you're in our business, that's the last thing you want to hear from a client. And the email goes on and says, yeah, it's in a plant where you've already completed the arc flash analysis. Ooh. Now my heart's beating way too fast for a fat guy. Goes on to say it was a Cat 4 arc flash label when you were here. And now I know someone's hurt and I'm feeling sick. He goes on to say, yeah, it was a Cat 4 when you were here, but you gave us a recommendation to make it a 1. And we did. Didn't the arc flash happen and nobody got hurt? I'm like, couldn't you lead with that? You know? Really? Put me through that? And when you think about arc flash analysis, I want you to think of Beauty Rest mattresses. Because they did it right. They did it right. We showed them here is a Cat 4 panel. This thing will require Cat 4 PPE unless you fix it. Our engineer, Amanda Gerald, great engineer, Rose Hallman, wrote a recommendation, a little paragraph on how to fix that panel and make it a 1. And all they had to do was go upstairs, the breaker that fed that panel, and adjust the instantaneous trip setting on the upstream breaker. And that made that a 4 to a 1. And nobody went to the hospital. You should have seen her face when she read that. It was pretty touching. Because she said, man, people read this stuff I write, you know. And she said, we got to keep someone from going to a hospital. Because I can guarantee you this. If you're wearing a Cat 4 arc flash, and there's one laying right back there. If you're wearing a Cat 4 arc flash suit in front of a Cat 4 arc flash, you're going to the hospital. period. No question. You're going to the hospital. So should that be our goal? To put labels on and wear PPE and go to the hospital? How about this? How about we find the hazard, engineer it out, then we have a Cat 1, nobody gets hurt, except the underwear. Okay? So that's what we want. That's what we want. Simmons Bedding did it right. Simmons Bedding did it right. Make sure you guys do it right. Okay? So, you know, this clothing, there's a statement in the standard, IEEE standard says, this PPE is not designed to prevent all injuries. It's designed to mitigate the impact in case one happens. You know what that means? It's designed to keep you alive. Not the quality of life necessarily, but designed to keep you alive. And that's not a good strategy. When you do arc flash analysis, you got a choice to do a complete study or a partial study. Some people will tell you, and I'm telling you, you don't have a choice. You have to do a complete study. Now, a partial study is oftentimes sold by companies that also sell circuit breakers because they want to sell some more circuit breakers, or they sell fuses. They would love to sell you some more fuses. A partial study is when someone comes in and says, yeah, we just need to do your big stuff. We just need to do the main switch gear, the big MCCs, the big power panels, and the bus ducts, and that's it. We don't have to do anything else. That's wrong. That's wrong. One of our engineers did a study of 200,000 electrical panels we looked at. Okay, 200,000. And he said, you know what? 61% of all the hazards above Cat 1 are in the small stuff, or in the stuff downstream from the big stuff. Things like your conveyor belt control panel. Things like, you know, the disconnect for your welding equipment. Disconnects for the battery chargers, the air compressor disconnect, all those things. All the equipment on the floor has to be looked at too, because OSHA says what? You have to do a hazard assessment. Well, we need to look at all the hazards. OSHA did not say you have to do a hazard assessment just in your large gray stuff. Nowhere do they say that. So you have to do it in everything. So make sure you're not sold a partial study from somebody who wants to do it cheaper for you because they're not going to look at everything. You need to look at everything. When you do an arc flash analysis, whether you're hiring a consultant or if you're lucky enough, maybe you have your own engineers and they're doing it internally, make sure you insist on a complete study. Make sure you insist on mitigation recommendations. Make sure safety owns this project, because safety knows that the next step is to reduce the hazards. Engineering doesn't necessarily know that, because it's not in the engineering standards for doing an arc flash. Make sure the consultants are using PPE. You'd be surprised how many electrical safety companies are out in your plants not wearing PPE. In our company, if you're ever caught not wearing your PPE, we don't have any questions for you about why. You're fired immediately. We have zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. So all of our people will be wearing PPE. Software. SKM is what we use mostly. ETAP is another good one. Easy Power we also do studies in. Make sure whoever is doing your study is using one of these softwares. There is also a free spreadsheet on the internet. And I recently heard if it's on the internet, it must be true. No, it is not. So if there's a free spreadsheet on the internet, I'm pretty sure it doesn't do what these things do. These things are designed for electrical engineers to use, and they've been around for years, and they're really good. Okay? And they're proven, they're tested, they're validated, all those things. So, and they also cost $25,000 to equip fully an engineer with them. So if the free spreadsheet does the same thing, I'm the sick puppy, because we bought a lot of this stuff. Make sure you have one throat to choke. Make sure you have one throat to choke. That is, whoever you hire to do your arc flash analysis, make sure all the people that work on that project are their people. So that when something goes wrong or something needs updated, you got one company to call. One throat to choke. We got that phrase from a client. So I like it. You guys got one throat to choke. You know whose throat he's talking about, right? This fat one right here. So a lot of times you'll have an engineering company that may subcontract the data collection to another company. There's all kinds of things going on. So find an arc flash company that does it all. That does the engineering, that does the field work, So you just got one throat. Make sure the consultants put on the labels. You'd be surprised how many plants we go into. Oh yeah, we've had an arc flash analysis 2 years ago. There's the labels on the bookshelf. Well, did you hire them to label your bookshelf? No. Make sure the consultants put on the labels. Because I guarantee you, if someone else does the study, putting the labels on for another company is impossible. You'll never find out where they all go. So make sure they do that. They may not do the zeros, but they'll do the Cat 1s and above. You can Google arc flash analysis companies. And just because some company comes up at the very top doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best. So don't rely on Google to choose your consultant, unless, of course, Llewellyn Technology comes up at the top. Then it's straight on right. Beware of broker resellers. You would be surprised at how many people out there are selling arc flash that don't do arc flash. They actually sell it. It's like going to a mortgage broker who doesn't do mortgages. They're just going to sell it to a bank. You know how well that worked. So there are people out there that do that. They're really good at coming up high on the Google searches too. And remember I said one throat to choke? You can't count the throats by the time they get done with you, because they're a marketing company going to sell your project to an engineering company who's going to sell it to an electrical contractor maybe, and they've all never met before. So don't rely on brokers and resellers, and they're easy to see. There's a lot of good companies out there doing arc flash analysis. We're not the only one. We're just the best, but we're not the only one. You deserve a good one. Make sure you get one. Choose a firm with hundreds of studies under the belt. Confirm the people really are engineers. There's some companies out there claiming to use engineers that are not. All you got to do is ask for PE numbers and who's supervising this operation and resumes and where did we go to school, those kind of things. Confirm the consultant is not just using the tables. Remember the tables I mentioned a while ago? There's a lot of companies that sell that as an arc flash analysis. And they just come in, they look it up in a table. Well, don't pay for that. I can teach you how to do that in about 10 minutes. So it'd be a shame if you paid for that. Choose a safety company. This is a safety project. Choose a safety company that's trying to bring safety to your company, not trying to sell something else. Okay? So use a safety company. We have 8 years of experience doing arc flash analysis. We've done thousands of studies. Our field techs and engineers have 280 years of experience. We just got 2 of them, so they're really, no. They're really old. No. Chances are we've done a study in your industry. I can't think of an industry we've not done a study for. So we're used to all plants. Price. Does an arc flash analysis cost? How big is your building? Is the deal. It depends on your facility. Depends on your facility. We can provide you with a free quote. We don't ever charge anybody for that. And we can do it pretty quick. And the lowest cost doesn't mean the lowest price isn't always the lowest cost. We were talking to a guy in Chicago yesterday that he had to go with the lowest price, and it's been very expensive because it was never done right in the first place. Scope of work. If you have a big place, you'll have to go out for bids. You'll need help developing a scope. Every big contract comes with a scope of work, and we do that. We offer that service. We can help you write a scope. We can inventory your equipment and help you write that contract. So if you're, government or something, have to do that. So that's a new service for us.